What a year for VR. 2023 started out in a difficult place with a seeming drought of software that had a slight boost with the release of Sony's PlayStation VR2, bringing a bunch of incredible AAA experiences that I haven't had a chance to play as the price of entry is out of my reach right now. However, around the middle of the year we had the Quest 3 announcement, as well as a plethora of new exciting games releasing up until the full release of the Quest 3, which I did manage to pick up. The last few months of 2023 we've really seen big release after big release, so here's my list of 2023's top 10 VR games, and remember, this is my opinion, it only includes games I've played, meaning those PSVR exclusives won't be on the list. However, I think a few will surprise, so let's jump right in at number 10. Sambad Migo, a Dreamcast and arcade classic and a great push into VR by Sega. There have been a lot of Beat Saber competitors enter the space, but I think Sambad Migo has a Japanese charm and wackiness that can't be ignored. It's heaps of fun and I've had a blast showing friends and family. They've also clearly used Sega's budget on the soundtrack, as they have a bunch of high-end pop tracks from the likes of Lady Gaga, Jonas Brothers, Ariana Grande, Nicki Minaj, but also classics and golden oldies like La Bamba, Bon Jovi and OK Go, as well as not forgetting the Persona 5 DLC I need to get around to playing. It has a mixed reality mode and interesting career style mode to keep you going too. Best party game of the year. On to number 9, another game that I recommend to all anime fans and Japanophiles. Sushi Ben has gone massively under the radar in my opinion. I love Japanese culture, I just came back from Japan last month and if you like me you'll love Sushi Ben. You roll into town Animal Crossing style and end up taking on tasks from everyone around. It's packed full of interesting minigame style tasks, all designed to get everybody chowing down at Sushi Ben's restaurant to keep it open and stop the main Yakuza real estate villain buying them out and taking over the town. I laughed out loud at the wacky storylines and writing, particularly the high-end Japanese voice acting. All the writing is in English, don't worry. If you've ever wanted to experience what it was like to live in a fantastical anime adventure, this is the game for you. It's got a gorgeous soundtrack too, and sometimes all I want to do is wander around town at night to the relaxing music. Severely underrated, don't sleep on this one. On to number 8, the third installment of the I Expect You to Die series. Visually, this looks great and plays just like the previous games. These are essentially escape-style puzzles, all with a spy thriller theme. However, I Expect You to Die 3 has the largest set pieces and wildest locations so far, from a high-speed chase stealing from a truck while veering back and forth on the highway to an underwater compound with an unwelcome monster to defeat. The story is the richest out of the 3 too, giving you a much more three-dimensional villain. If you play the previous games in the series, it's more of the same but taken up another notch. If you haven't, where have you been? The full trilogy is well worth purchasing. Now, number 7, Breaches is still the best online shooter to release this year, and it just released on PSVR2 with full cross-play between all platforms. They've also updated the map roster with 2 more maps, another game mode and also a leveling up system with competitive lobbies on the way. I did a full review when it released if you'd like to get a more in-depth idea of the game. Shooter fanatics, this should be an immediate purchase to scratch that Rainbow Six Siege itch. Number 6, Seventh Guest was a welcome surprise this year, a reboot of a classic CD-ROM PC puzzle game, and what a remake, a fully explorable mansion with every room a series of puzzles to complete and stories to further. Its big hook is the groundbreaking 3D volumetric capture, similar to L.A. Noir's Faces but full body. It's a very impressive trick which always intrigues and works well with the ghostly apparitions, and the campy acting is a joy to witness. The puzzles are challenging enough to stump you, but they've implemented really great help or hint systems to avoid halting progress completely. The atmosphere is a huge part of the game, with the mansion being a character itself. I'll never tire of using the ghostly lantern to see the other side to the paintings. If you like puzzles, this one's for you. Now before we enter my top 5 VR games of 2023, let me pay some bills. This video is sponsored by VR Wave, who produce prescription lens inserts for your VR headset. They're magnetic, so they're easy to use and remove and allow you to avoid using glasses which could potentially scratch your lenses. They also provide non-prescription anti-blue light and anti-glare filters, with both those coatings also available for prescriptions. They're a trusted brand for prescription lenses at an affordable price, and it's a pleasure to partner with them. You'll find links in the description to the products. Now here's my top 5. At 5 we have Arizona Sunshine 2. It's got an unfair rap for its length, which I think is unjustified. You can absolutely rush through and beat the game in a speedy time, but Vertigo Games have given this one AAA attention. The world is thick with cupboards, drawers, vehicles and many more areas to loot and find secrets. There's a lot of world building at play here and it makes for a lot of fun exploring while dispatching hordes of the undead, which have been given a welcome upgrade and wonderful limb effects as you gun them down. This is one of my favourite co-op experiences this year too, as the whole campaign can be played from start to finish with a friend, which is an absolute blast. The weapons feel great, the crafting is fun, the item physics and hats are hilarious, and I haven't even gotten to your canine companion Buddy. Clearly a lot of time and effort has been put into Buddy 2, who you can interact with and also use to fight zombies. It's easy to get attached to him. While it's certainly on the pricey side, you get what you pay for, and this isn't a tech demo but a fully fledged built from the ground up VR zombie shooting adventure. It's not a survival game, but playing through it with a friend is a joy. We need another.
Yes. Mexican Buddy. That's so good.
At 4 we have Asgards Wrath 2. I've only put around 12 hours into it so far, so I can't give it a proper result, but even after the short time I've had with it, it's in my top of the year. It could be higher or lower once I finish it, but this is where it sits now. A sprawling RPG adventure with solid combat, great visuals and a dense leveling up system, world and host of craftable items, companions, stories and so much more I haven't even touched on yet. This is a must buy for RPG lovers and I can't wait to delve deeper. The hype is no joke.
Oh, dutiful guardian.
Number 3 is Dungeons of Eternity, and it also takes the prize of my favourite co-op experience of the year, beating Arizona Sunshine 2. It's a procedural dungeon crawler which might sound bland to most, but it's incredibly polished with excellent sword fighting, archery, axe throwing and a refined levelling and looting system that keeps you coming back for more. The developers are continually updating too. With a recent Christmas update they clearly put a ton of work into. This game really nails that feeling of coming together as a band of adventurers, Lord of the Rings style, to explore, fight and loot in a fantasy medieval setting crossed with sci-fi elements. The ever-expanding enemy roster is varied, fun and challenging. Potions and items are satisfying and interesting, not to mention it looks incredible on a Quest 3 headset. Dungeons of Eternity really earns number 3 this year, with devs consisting of only a handful of people. This is a huge achievement. Well done, other gate. Number 2 on my list is actually Assassin's Creed Nexus, which might surprise some people. Like many, I was very excited about this game and I actually think it's my favourite entry of the series and is the most important Assassin's Creed game in a long time. First of all, it was made for the Quest 2 and it really shows how that headset can perform at its best. Ubisoft have clearly had the budget to create some expansive open worlds teeming with NPCs, the likes of which we've not seen in any other game on standalone. There is spacewalk being used and there's also some judder when using Quest 3 waiting on an optimisation update, but to say you're leaping, climbing and running here, there and everywhere without getting motion sick is a testament to the game design and also to the extensive accessibility and comfort settings. Without rushing, this is also a long game with a main story and some side tasks racking up a full runtime of 25 to 30 hours. It's well worth the price and is also a good way of showing other AAA developers how it's done. I hope a lot more of these are on the way, and if you haven't bought it yet, this is a must buy for fans and non-fans. We need it to make a profit so we can see that Splinter Cell game. And finally, my 2023 VR game of the year isn't available on standalone. It's Vertigo II. What an experience. This Half-like really comes into its own with the second instalment. You don't need to have played the first as it has a solid recap at the beginning, but the weird worlds you'll explore and characters you'll meet is like nothing else you'll experience, VR or otherwise. There's a lot of creative and truly alien design, a good sized single player story with excellent pacing and wild varied locations and biomes to visit. Boring never comes into the equation. You have a large roster of weapons unlike anything else you've seen, with interesting loading and reloading mechanics which never get old. It can be a little too difficult at times to feel unfair, but it's not unforgivable. There's some incredible sections towards the end of the game that were some of the most immersive alien experiences I've ever had, and I'll also never forget. Zach and his tiny team have created another killer app and it's my VR game of the year. If you have a PC, you can buy it now and it'll be available shortly on PSVR2. Let me know what you think of the list below, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Before I close out the video, here are some of my honourable mentions for 2023. I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, I can't do it if you're watching. Seriously, I'm not joking. Could you just turn around for a second?